Hey guys, it's Humphrey. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys 6 different ways to invest $100. Now, there are a lot of methods out there to grow your money, but one of the most important milestones when you only have $100 is to try to get to $1,000 and then hopefully $10,000 and then hopefully even more. A lot of people really discount the power that even $100 has in growing their wealth, and so I leave you with this quote, which is actually from my father, but he once told me that, son, $1 million is actually comprised of 1 million $1 bills. I know it's kind of silly, but the quote really just shows you that every dollar counts when it comes to building your wealth. Even small decisions around your money can have a compounding effect over time, so it's really important that with $100 we make the best decisions possible and we invest it in the best possible way. Risk is going to be a really big factor when it comes to investing $100. If you're too risky, you could just blow it all really quickly, and if you're too risk averse, well, your money's just going to take forever to grow. Now, before we start, I want to mention that none of these methods are actually get rich quick methods. They all take a lot of time and discipline, but if you stick with me to the end of this video, you'll learn 6 different ways to invest $100 in 2021 and beyond. If you do end up enjoying this video today, make sure to subscribe. I make a lot of videos like these on YouTube on personal finance and investing. So with that being said, let's get started with the first method to invest $100, and that's actually to flip things. It may come as a shock that I put this on my list, but in my opinion, flipping items can actually have what's called an infinite return, and I'll explain that in a little bit. If you know the market really well, you're going to be taking calculated risks that are hopefully going to work out for you 99% or more of the time. Essentially what you're going to do is look for items in which you know the market super well on websites like Craigslist, Nextdoor, and Facebook Marketplace. You're going to identify underpriced items, negotiate for these items, and then hopefully flip them at a profit on those same marketplaces. For example, I know a lot about golf equipment. I'm a big golfer myself, so if I search for something like golf clubs on Craigslist, I get a list or a myriad of golf equipment. If I'm able to find one of these listings that I believe are below market value, then I'm able to then contact that seller, buy that item, and then hopefully resell it at a profit a little bit later on. For golf in particular, what I've noticed is that a lot of people like to try the sport. They maybe buy a set of clubs or a golf bag, but they actually end up just giving up on the sport, and when that happens, they list those items on those marketplaces. That's where you can come in, or where I can come in, buy these things at a discounted rate, and then actually sell them for their true value on a different marketplace. Now that's just golf, but that can be applied for many different products across all different types of industries. For example, furniture is one of those items that you can try to find good deals on because a lot of people are just trying to move that furniture as quickly as possible. Once you have said furniture, if you can find a buyer, you're going to make quite a bit of profit on that resale because of how big the markups on furniture usually are. People just expect furniture to cost a lot of money. Another way that you can leverage flipping stuff with zero risk at all and almost an infinite return is just to scour Nextdoor, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist in the free section. This is a strategy that even Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, but basically it's to scour these marketplaces, find something that's free, contact the seller as soon as possible, set up an arrangement, pick up that free item, and then relist it on those same marketplaces. This carries virtually no risk besides your time because as long as you're getting something for free and you're able to resell it, it's basically instant profit. So I've actually done this before, and my biggest tip here when it comes to flipping things is to look for things that are universally applicable. I would stay away from items that are too niche or basically just have a really narrow market, but instead focus on things that everyone could buy. So furniture is good, baby stuff is good, etc. For example, I'll pull up on the screen right now a picture of this IKEA dresser I found on Craigslist that was free, and if I was able to get this IKEA dresser, I bet I could relist it on Facebook Marketplace for, let's say, between $20 and $40. That's an example of an item that could sell pretty easily. A lot of people are always in need of dressers. Now compare that to these Datsun 280ZX rims that are going to be really heavy, and really the only market for them is someone who actually has a Datsun 280ZX. Okay, so flipping stuff, you can invest your $100, try to buy items for less than that, and then flip them for a profit, or you could just try the free to flipping strategy. If you guys want to see a video in which I just flip stuff from $0 or $100 to $1,000, I think that could be pretty fun. I think I could complete that challenge within 1 month. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. All right, my second way to invest $100 is to actually invest them in low-cost ETFs. A low-cost ETF is a diversified investment that you can actually buy on the stock market. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, and by buying this one fund, you automatically own a small percentage of everything that that fund buys into. The analogy that I'm going to use today, because I've been watching a lot of bee videos recently, is that imagine one individual stock is like one honeybee. If you invest $100 into one individual stock, let's say you invest in Facebook in your portfolio, that means Facebook is your one honeybee. If your one honeybee dies, then your entire portfolio is gone. Now, what an ETF is like investing in a colony or a beehive. By investing in the beehive, you own a small percentage of everything that beehive owns, or a small percentage of all the honeybees in that beehive. So if you have one honeybee and that's an individual stock and all of a sudden it dies, at least you have all the other honeybees in the beehive keeping your beehive afloat. I hope that analogy made sense, but basically an ETF is a diversified way for you to invest in the market. ETFs typically track market indexes, and the most prolific ETF these days is the one that tracks the S&P 500. So by buying an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, you're buying an individual investment that owns a small percentage of every single one of those companies in that index. The best way to buy an ETF is through a brokerage. Now, with $100, it's important that you choose an ETF where the ETF price per share is less than $100, or you're not going to be able to buy it unless that brokerage offers fractional shares. Most traditional brokerages won't allow you to buy a fraction of a share. You either have to buy one share or nothing of that ETF. However, there are some new brokerages out there, like discount brokerages such as Robinhood, that allow you to do fractional share investing. This is where you can specify how many dollars worth of an ETF you'd like to purchase. So instead of needing to have $340 to buy one share of the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, you can simply just buy $100 worth of it, which will give you a fractional share ownership of it of 0.29 shares. If you'd like to try Robinhood for their fractional shares and also get a free stock whenever you sign up and deposit any amount of money, there's a link in my description below for that. So an ETF is a good way to invest $100 and invest in many companies at that. The S&P 500 ETF has averaged an annual return of 13.4% in the last 10 years. So if you invested in it 10 years ago, your $100 investment would be worth about $351 today using compound interest. The other great thing about ETFs is that they're low cost and they're pretty passive investments. You can invest in them, let them sit there, and you don't have to do anything at all. They're passively managed funds, so you don't have to do anything. All right, the next way to invest $100 is actually through individual stocks. Now, this is going to have higher risk, but with higher risk comes hopefully higher reward. With $100, I actually think it's a great idea to invest on a platform that allows you to buy fractional shares, because that's going to allow you to buy 20 stocks at say $5 each, or 10 stocks at $10 each. When it comes to picking individual stock, it's important to diversify across different companies and also different industries as well. Because let's say you buy 10 different stocks, but they're all tech stocks. That means if the tech sector takes a dive, then your portfolio will too. When it comes to investing in stocks, you want to do as much research as you can when it comes to figuring out what types of stocks to buy. If there's something that you don't understand about that certain stock, it's best to Google it or actually go on investopedia.com and look it up. In general, you want to invest in good companies with solid financials and a good long-term outlook. The other thing with individual stocks is that you could actually invest in safer stocks such as dividend-paying stocks. These are usually more stable companies with proven cash flows, so much so that they actually pass back a percentage of their profits back to their shareholders. Popular dividend-paying companies include things like Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, AT&T, and Apple. If you're interested in creating a dividend stock portfolio, I do have a video for that as well, which I'll link up here and in the description below. Okay, so the fourth way to actually invest $100 is in yourself. This is one of those things that you might think, Humphrey, that's kind of stupid. You didn't actually tell me how to make money. By investing in myself, how am I going to make any cash? Well, in my opinion, education or tools to help you make more income is actually a good use of your money. If you're able to take this $100 and invest it in some sort of new skill, and then all of a sudden you can trade that new skill in the job market for more money, then it is such a great use of your money. In terms of education, you could take a course online for less than $100. Maybe it's a course on email marketing, a course on photography, or even a course on how to become a YouTuber. You could buy books to educate yourself in certain types of topics, and hopefully you can use that knowledge in the job market to get even a higher paying job or project. If you don't want to spend money on books, I totally get that. You can always just go to the library and borrow books for free, or you can find free ebooks online. As I mentioned earlier, another good way to invest in yourself is through tools. Imagine if you're someone who's tutoring kids in your local area, and the only way that people get to know you these days is by posting an ad on a local bulletin board. With $100, you could build your own website for yourself. That way you can list your services online, and I would classify that as a tool. Another tool you can invest in is to increase the quality of your webcam so that the quality of your studying sessions are even improved as well. I think education is great because it's going to go with you no matter where you are in life, and the more education that you acquire, the more knowledge you're going to have, and hopefully you can trade that knowledge in for higher paying jobs and higher paying projects. The fifth way to invest $100 needs to be mentioned, but I don't really love this method right now because of how low interest rates are, but the fifth method is to invest in a high yield savings account. I think if you have the choice between your money sitting in a normal savings account or a checking account versus a high yield savings account, then no brainer, you got to put your money into a high yield savings account. In my mind, there are two advantages to having a high yield savings account than a regular account, and that is that at least your money is generating you interest, and also they're FDIC insured up to $250,000 most of the time. Popular high yield savings accounts include the one by Ally Bank Online, as well as Marcus by Goldman Sachs, where I think right now they're paying about 0.5% in interest. However, $100 sitting in a high yield savings account is going to just basically sit there. It's going to generate a little bit of interest, but it's not going to make you another $100, at least not for a while. Okay guys, the sixth way to invest $100 is actually in retirement accounts. Contributing to your retirement is going to be one of those essential investments that you make for your core investment holdings that will hopefully have a very large impact on the rest of your life. Because of how compound interest works and investing, you want to start as early as you can when it comes to investing in retirement. Popular accounts are the traditional IRA, the Roth IRA, the 401k, the 403b, etc. In retirement accounts, since you can't touch that money without penalty until you're retired, you're going to want to hold things for 30 to 40 years, and hopefully these will be safer investments. Popular safe investments for your retirement account are things like ETFs and index funds, and so if you guys are interested in that, I'm going to leave more links in the description below for you guys to check out. Another great thing about investing in your retirement is, especially if you have a 401k through your employer, is that typically employers will offer what's called a contribution match. Depending on your employer, that means a $100 investment could actually be matched up to 100%, so that's a free another $100 for your retirement investment. If you work for a company with a 401k or 403b, you're going to want to ask your employer if they actually match any of your contributions, and if they do, you want to take advantage of that all the time. All right, those are 6 ways, but I actually have a bonus way for you guys to invest $100, and that's actually to start a side hustle. There are a lot of side hustles that can cost less than $100 to start, and I think this is a great use of $100 because if you're able to start a successful side hustle, you're gonna have more money coming in. For example, you could do online music lessons or online tutoring via Zoom. You could start an Etsy store and sell arts and crafts there. You could create homemade meals for med students who don't have time to cook. You could walk dogs, you could write a blog, you could start a power washing business where you buy a power washer for less than $100, but all of these side hustles cost less than $100 to start and could potentially make you more money down the road. All right, so I hope this video was helpful. If you're interested in my videos on how to invest $1,000 or how to invest $10,000, I'm gonna leave them in the description below and at the end of this video as well. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also tick the notification bell because then you'll get notified whenever I drop a video. If you'd like to get access to fractional shares and get a free stock with Robinhood whenever you deposit any amount of money, it can even just be $1. The link for that is in my description below. Lastly, thanks to all my Patreon supporters. I appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will be in a couple days here.